I'm making some tiramisu cheesecake, and I actually originally made this recipe for a boy, and it was the first time he came over. We came and played video games, and it was the first time I've actually like hung out with a dude who I like might potentially date and play video games with. Honestly, dating feels like high school. We've got some chocolate Teddy Grahams, and we're gonna turn them into graham cracker crust. And we've got our graham cracker crust. We're gonna need a bowl. Actually, I do have a recommendation that I would not recommend making these in a little cupcake tin, but you totally could. Just don't use like paper wrappers. You probably should try using like a parchment paper to make a little wrapper, and it'll totally work if you do it that way. But I just didn't have a ton of success because this mixture is kind of wet because we're dunking it in a coffee mixture, and then we're also putting it into like a no-bake cheesecake situation. We're also going to cut some paper for this. Fold her in half. This cheesecake did have really delicious flavor. Normally I don't like coffee. I know that's so strange, especially as like a food influencer, but my favorite coffee place in Minneapolis is 5 Watt because my best friend Anna showed it to me. My favorite drink there is called the All Day All Night, and it's a latte. I always get mine iced because whatever. We also need to melt some butter. I can show you guys my melting butter situation. You'll also need a hand mixer for this, but this actually comes together pretty quickly. So add your graham cracker crust. Be careful not to toss your blade in. And I've got about 1.5 cups of Teddy Grahams. You can do 2 cups. I'm also going to add some vanilla to this mixture. I'm using about 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter. Okay, it's time to add the melted butter. Grab a little spatula and then just toss that butter in the crumbs. I also have some homemade caramel that I've kind of got to use up, so I think this might be a good opportunity, or at least like some fun little decoration. This looks great. You know, it's kind of like a little bit darker, so you kind of know that it's got a little bit of butter everywhere out. Okay, and I'm going to show you how I line my parchment. We've got our 2 papers. I'm just kind of lined them up. You're just going to put your springform pan right on top. Ta-da. So I have my 2 sheets. I'm going to add that to our little layer. Okay, great. Add the chocolate crust layer in, and we're just going to press it down. Okay, so I've just got a nice little old measuring cup. So I'm just going to press in my crust so it's nice and firm on the bottom with no cracks. Because crack is whack. Okay, lovely. Okay, to our next bowl, I'm going to add 3 blocks of cream cheese because I want this to be kind of thick because we are kind of putting some lady fingers soaked in. I'm actually soaking them in a cold brew that I made myself. I would just say use like 3 or 4 blocks of cream cheese. I've got like this little extra one I'm also adding. When I was making these in cupcake form the first time, I only used 2 blocks of cream cheese, which I totally think you could make work, but I want mine to be like thick. We've got our 3 blocks of cream cheese. I'm going to add some vanilla. Isn't she great? We're going to beat some powdered sugar into this, like a 1/4 cup, and a little bit of the cold brew. Let's also add a pinch of salt. And time to begin. A little more coffee. We just want to work this until there's no clumps. Okay, so next we're just going to need a little container for our coffee. And then, so we can evenly distribute these, we're not going to add these yet until we're ready to assemble. We're going to break these in half and then soak them in the coffee. let them drain a little bit, and then pop them into our cheesecake. So let's add half of our cheesecake mixture, kind of in like a sealant, so our crust doesn't get soggy from all of the coffee. Just kind of split your bowl in half, add in half of the mix. Evenly distribute that on the crust, avoiding pulling up any of the crust. She's looking great. Doesn't have to be perfect because we are literally adding filling to it. I'm breaking these in half and then I'm gonna add them. So just a little ladyfinger. Give her a little dip. Honestly, like for just a couple seconds. I'm taking them out, let them drain a little bit, and then add them to your cake. 3 more cookies left. And this is what we look like so far. So, you know, you can melt some chocolate, use some hazelnut. I'm using some of this premium sauce because I think it'll give it a nice little color in the middle. Okay, so this is our chocolate little layer. Now we're going to pop in the remaining portion of our cheesecake mix and bury in that little layer of coffee. I need someone to come and lick the bowl. Pop our tiramisu cheesecake in the fridge to chill for a couple of hours. I'm probably gonna even leave mine, I don't even know what time it is, at least 4 hours. Just because I want it to be super set up, super chilled, and then I'll show you how I'm gonna decorate it. See you for the reveal. Mwah. Okay, and now we're just going to sprinkle with some cocoa powder.